one big story, what do you think is the biggest thing that happened that affected your lives or generally the world's lives and continuing to do that in the next months or years? For me, the biggest story of this year has been AI.
And that's the coming into our social consciousness, the GLP-1 medications, like Ogivy and all these medications that people who take to reduce weight or to control their diabetes.
Mental health coming to the forefront from being a relatively nascent undercurrent need to becoming a more visible need.
It's a huge canvas, and I know for one, I've spent years thinking about each of these separately. Partly because I've been around the mental health framework, what's happening, irrespective of AI. That is the positive part of mental health is that people are discovering that part of health rather than just physical health. But the negative part is no one knows because we have a few years of work in mental health. All our work, at least as far as I'm aware, for the last 60 years, um, or the big piece of work is about medicines given to reduce someone's pain or enhance someone's physical feelings in whatever sense, and nothing to do with the mind. The closest that comes to the mind are drugs. Some of them legal, some of them not so legal, and especially I think there's I don't want to go into this just now, but I believe there is like a bit of a drug issues in the US, especially that is currently being grappled with. Um, but let's come back to the more common thing about generative AI. I mean, we've got. I think Vix, you already use Gemini, or
Over here in Silicon Valley, what people are realizing is that uh, we get paradigm shifts once in a lifetime. But our generation is lucky to have experienced multiple paradigm shifts. We experienced the computer paradigm shift in 1990s. Then we had the internet paradigm shift in the 2000. Then we have the mobile paradigm shift. Then we have the social paradigm shift. So computers, internet, mobile, social, and now we have the AI paradigm shift. This is a defining moment in history. And most people in the world do not have not absorbed the idea that the artificial brains that we're able to make on the computers now will have a bigger impact on the world than internet did. Now, a lot of people who will be watching this show have not even experienced a life without internet. Youngsters, 20-year-olds, they grew up, they were born after the year 2000. They've not experienced a life without internet. But for oldies like us who have experienced a life without internet changed everything. And I feel generative AI is going to change everything once again in the next 5 years. And it's going to have a huge deflationary impact on the economy. Uh, Mix and I, we were having a discussion yesterday on how when the machines came in the industrial age, they took people away from it was the physical labor people who were affected, right? So I think Mix, you mentioned that when the word processor got invented, a lot of typists lost their jobs, right?
and that was like the starting the what you call the start of the white collar workers,
Yes,
right? You would probably term a typist as the start of the white collar, someone who's not doing physical labor except with their fingers.
yes. But
Uh,
this time with
Machine
Gen
age
AI,
was the coal miners, the diggers,
yes,
the those people, and now it is
yes.
here.
Now this time it's coming for the boardroom. This time it's coming for the analyst.
Is everyone's got GPT-4 and Gemini and this and that, and but not everyone gets the same output
Yeah,
sitting on the computer.
I
So
think
that
there's
is
another
one.
dimension.
Yes.
That's a very important part. And I believe now we also have this concept called hallucination, which is coming up in the context of generative AI. That the kind of answers you get are a strong function of what exactly how you are phrasing the question, and a lot of times it may just be a totally wrong answer. If you rephrase the question, you will get a different answer, and so on. So it's a very interesting use case. Uh, and part of my thought is that it depends on what is it that you are solving. I mean, where you have things where you require a human expertise, like you are saying, bringing the case to an IC, for example, there's a lot of work that happens before it comes to that stage, and that is something which uh, can be accelerated in a big way, can be streamlined, but it still requires that final human brain to act on it, decide on it. Similar use cases we see uh, in the credit underwriting. You see it in, let's say, in the healthcare sector, in mental health, and so on, where a lot of groundwork can probably be done by ChatGPT and similar LLMs, but the final decision making, you still require that human expertise to kind of take the final call on it.
At this
Yeah,
time, that's the
At
big
this
thing,
time,
isn't it? At this
yes.
time you need.
At this
uh,
time, yes. That's
Maybe in
an
6 or
important
12 months
caveat.
you still will need, but will you need that human overlay for a final decision making in 5 years? I don't know if I know the answer to that.
Yeah,
yeah, we don't know the answer to that,
we
and
don't
that
know
is
the answer
scary.
to that. Yes.
Yeah, and that is so. For some of the people who, we started using the word Gen AI and we started talking about it. So I think for some of our audience who doesn't know about Gen AI, so I'd like you guys to think of Gen AI as a brain on your computer. It literally works as a brain on your computer. And a lot of you will be surprised to know that the logo that you see in the top right was actually generated by AI. Mix and I, we sat there and we told the AI, give us a logo, and we said, you know, uh, some keywords about our podcast, and I think it did a great job generating this logo.
And
And
I will just add on to that what we were talking about. It's how you phrase the question. What are the GPT prompts or the AI prompts that you give? And Vix, I must tell you that I've seen a lot and I thought I was good, but the way you phrase those questions was, I've not seen better.